All right. You know what's funny is like now that we're using my phone, I don't have any of my interview questions.
Oh shit!
But like,
I think we can figure it out.
yeah, we got this.
I'll ask myself questions if you need.
Like I'm just sitting here silently, and you like ask yourself and answer your own questions.
And then at the end, you're like, "All right, thanks."
Yeah, wonder having you. Like I feel like we had a lot of chemistry here today, actually. But start off with your name, where you're from.
Yeah, I'm Denton True. I hate that I said Denton. I used to hate when people said that. I'm from Oklahoma, and now I'm in New York, thankfully. Yeah, I hate saying I'm from Oklahoma too. I feel like it automatically writes me off as like that guy from Oklahoma.
It's kind of like you know who Kenny Beats is?
Yeah.
He talks about all the time, like he's from Connecticut, but he say, oh yeah, I grew up in Connecticut and New York. It's like, but everybody's like, what do you mean and New York?
Yeah, New York. Yeah.
He's like, I'm not, I can't be a producer from Connecticut. That can't be my personality.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. So, you know, you go to Pratt.
Yeah, I go to Pratt with my boy Nadir Hepburn.
Yeah.
Introduced us.
That's nice. Who's probably gonna be on at some point or another.
Hell yeah, I want to hear that episode.
Yeah, like I feel like me and him. I'm not gonna hype it up too much because then if I actually do it and it sucks,
Yeah. All your viewers would be pissed.
Yeah. All 5 of them would be like, yo, I was anticipating.
I was really waiting for that Nadir interview.
But yeah, it's like really interesting because like naturally you want to do your friends and stuff.
Yeah,
Cause, like
yeah.
you have the most chemistry with them, and like you always like whenever you talk to your friends, you're like, wow, this is so cool. Like we should start a podcast. Like
Yeah.
But then like the thing about it is that it's always it's never as good as you think it is.
It's always like too personal, and so like
Yeah.
it's like there's just like a constant inside joke that no one else is in.
And then like once you're editing it, you're like, all right, I don't think anybody wants to hear us talking about his mom.
Yeah.
For like 2 minutes, and then like his school life, like this incident in school, and for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, like, I'll cut that out, and then it just becomes like this weird like shit show of me just cutting all the stuff out. So it's just all the transitional moments on the podcast. Like, oh yeah. And then it cuts and it's like, I feel the same. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like eventually, like I had a whole other like kind of maybe like season where I was like really figuring my stuff out with it. And like I put them all out there. And then like I eventually went back and took them down just because I wasn't as proud as them.
Yeah.
As proud of them as I would like to have been. So like eventually I got a little tired of whatever. Like all of this, like talking about the podcast on the podcast.
It's terrible. We're done with it. We're done with it. Okay.
Your name, Denton True. Where you're from, Oklahoma, right? What have you been doing? You're a filmmaker.
Yeah, I just finished. Well, not finished, but I finished shooting my first feature at the end of April. Started shooting at the beginning of May, March 1st. So yeah, we were just filming like nights and weekends whenever we could find time around people's schedules. And I'm currently in post, working on ADRing everything right now, like almost every scene.
Really?
Yeah, because we were always rushing so much because I wanted to get it done by the end of the semester, and it was just like I couldn't get enough people on set to
do sound.
To do sound, so I just like got a boom on the got a shotgun on the camera, and it was all fucked. It was.
And for those who don't know, ADR is when you go into post and
have the actors
re-say all the lines
every
and
single line.
It's like difficult to sound sync it and everything. It's difficult.
It's gonna be a good time doing the sound mix on that. But I got a rough cut together. It's an hour and 14 minutes.
That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna film some shit of this homeless dude singing because I think I want to use his voice as the narration. So.
Really?
Yeah, I just ran into him the other day, and he was singing this gospel song on the train, and he was like tapping this cup on his lap and making this like really crazy beat with the cup. And I was like, yo, like I got work for you. Like I'll give you money if you record some lines for me. He goes, okay, I'm always at Nassau, so just pick me up here.
Once that comes out, that'll be a pretty good story. Like you interview with him, and he's like a famous like voice actor.
Yeah. Now he gets big off of that.
Yeah. But talk about your feature. What is it about?
Okay, it's called A Drunk Scorpion Will Sting Itself to Death. And
wait, I thought it was called.
It was called Crackhead: A Tragedy.
Okay.
And then every time I told people, they would laugh at it. They'd be like, "That's funny," and I was like, "It literally says like tragedy in the name." like the word crackhead has just been completely fucked by Twitter, and now it's like, oh, like I didn't clean my room for 3 days. I'm such a crackhead. Yeah. And it really pisses me off because like
that's actually such an accurate way to say it.
Yeah,
like,
it's just so
like everybody's just like, oh, shut up, crackhead, because like you're doing something mildly abnormal.
You're walking in the street instead of the sidewalk.
You like forgot to tie your shoes. It's like, come on, tie your shoes, crackhead.
Yeah,
and it's
like the crack epidemic is such a huge problem, and it's just like people making light of it so easy. So yeah, I changed the name to A Drunk Scorpion Will Sting Itself to Death. It's about a crack addicted homeless man who overdoses and decides to get clean, and he meets this woman named Maria. She's a guardian angel, not like with the wings, on the train. And she says, "Hey, I'll help you get clean, but you gotta kill crack dealers with me." And so they go around New York killing crack dealers, and then he gets in this shit with his ex-girlfriend who's, been skimming from this dude, and they have to take down this guy. It's more nuanced than that. It sounds like a shitty, Abel Ferrara film.
It kind of sounds like, it sounds like Kick-Ass a little bit for some reason. That's
shit, did I just make Kick-Ass but with crackheads?
Like a homeless guy from Kick-Ass?
Yeah.
Cause I don't know, maybe the whole killing drug dealers thing, but being all virtuous about it. Felt like, maybe it's cause I just watched it 2 weeks ago, again.
I don't think I've seen Kick-Ass in a long time.
I just remember very specifically, he's our leader's trying to fuck the love interest, and she's into this weird thing with this crack dealer, and then he ends up going to the crack dealer, fighting him, losing, and that's when the mentor character comes in and kills everybody.
Oh yeah.
He's it's Nicolas Cage and he's a fake Batman. Honestly, it's a pretty cool scene. It's a pretty cool scene.
The Rage Cage.
Honestly, my favorite Nicolas Cage role might have been in Spider-Verse, just because that was just such a. Nobody else would have played it.
Yeah, no. He did it so straight and so good. And I'm Spider. What is this Rubik's Cube?
Yo, that whole Rubik's Cube, and it's funny because it's one of those jokes that you're like, oh, I don't know, it's just a joke.
Yeah, but they keep hitting it. And it works
and you're
time.
Wait, it's because he's in black and white, so he can't see it.
Yeah, he doesn't know any of this.
He just sees that they're not the same, but he doesn't see the actual color. I don't know. Watch Spider-Verse. Pretty.
Yeah. If you take anything away from
support that movie.
Watch Spider-Verse.
It's definitely on Netflix. But, anyways, back to A Drunk Scorpion Will Sing Itself to Death. I was about to call it Crackhead. I was about to call it Crackhead.
I think if you give something a long title, it makes it seem a lot more poetic than it is.
Yeah, To Pimp a I was about to say To Pimp a Butterfly, but that is poetic.
Yeah.
But when people are To Pimp a Butterfly, I'm like, we don't have there's no shorter way to say that.
Yeah, what is that TPAB?
TPAB, whatever. But anyways, what brought you to that story?
So I was in Toronto actually. I went there every summer to work with the Salvation Army up there, which is a fucked organization, but they do some good. We just worked with a lot of addicted people and homeless people, and I really started to over the years, I really started to care about these addicts a lot, and I would see the same faces every time I went back. And so I just got the idea for the name Crackhead, and to use that kind of to twist that derogatory slur into something that's kind of you're owning it, and it's something that you need to get past. And of course now the name's different, but when I got the story the first day I was in New York, I started writing it, and it was completely different then. It was this this guy overdoses, and the whole film is just his overdose, and it was this weird psychedelic shit. And then I was like, no, that's gonna be way too hard to pull off for a first feature. So I kind of just kept changing the ideas around. I finished the script around end of January, and then I just kind of got people together. I grew a crazy beard, and I mean it wasn't too crazy. It was just really thick down here in the worst part. I knew I said, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna get laid for the entire time while I'm doing this, and that is A-okay.
Oh, because he was the lead actor in the film.
Oh, so yeah, I also acted. I wrote, directed, acted, editing. And that sounds, every time I say that to someone, they think oh, wow,
oh
you
my
did
God,
everything.
big shot.
You did everything. But no, I could not have done this without the help of some very talented people. Nadir Hepburn, Zachary Razik, Anahita Amershahi, There's a lot more. All of my actors and actresses.
Yeah.
But yeah. They you know they
Of
really
course,
pulled through for me.
I feel like a lot of times I've definitely heard this somewhere, but like somebody said either all the glory or all the blame goes to the director when it comes to when a film succeeds or fails, and I'm like, that's such a great way to put it. Like when you're like, when you say study film and just like know a lot more than your average Joe Schmo, you're like, oh, well, the reason why this movie is boring is because it's shot blandly or something like that. But like when people can't really like explain why they don't like something, they're like, oh, this is probably the director's fault.
The director did something bad. Yeah.
But like, I mean, like maybe like I guess in the greatest scheme of things, like he kind of did because if you know,
yeah, I mean everything is in the end like the director's fault because if oh, this shot was fucked up. Well, the director didn't say like, hey, you got to get this shot right, or like, oh, this performance is bad. Well, the director didn't say like, yeah, you got to take this again and do it better. So
or like, oh, this is edited wonky. Well, the director definitely looked at it. He didn't say to fix it.
That's wonky. So,
but like back to the what's wrong with the Salvation Army? Like I didn't.
I mean they like. I think this might only be in America that they do it, but like they'll like turn away trans people from staying with them, and I don't know if this is still the case, but if they have a husband and wife both working for their staff, they'll pay the wife's salary to the husband. So he gets like 2 paychecks and she doesn't get anything. And then it's just like expected that like they'll, distribute it among themselves. Which is,
that's like really...
It's fucked. Goodwill's fucked too, like you try to buy something cheap and... I mean, I still shop there. I feel kind of bad, but I'm broke, so...
I mean, same. Like struggling filmmakers. Like
that's the best place for costuming. I mean, that's probably where like half of the budget for not half of the budget, but like a large percent of the budget went for the movie was getting costuming and props there because like it was just so it's so accessible and you can find so much shit there.
I mean, like I feel like stuff like that is so. I mean, like now I feel like we're shitting on Goodwill because it looks like we're saying only crackheads would shop there because like but like. I mean, like Goodwill's, it has cheap stuff. It's basically a thrift store. I'm not sure if it actually.
I mean, I got like fucking all this shit at Goodwill.
Exactly. So like, I'm trying to think of something I have on me from Goodwill. I don't think anything right now, but I definitely I've definitely been there like a good 5 or 6 times this summer alone. So like, it's definitely like, I don't. Back to the whole greater thing of Salvation Army and stuff. I like always feel like whenever people look into like. Sort of the charity organizations a little too deeply, there's always something wrong with them.
You're always going to find something wrong with every corporation. So, like, there's no ethical consumption. We just got to revolt, man. Let's fucking rise up.
Just burn it all and then just start over again.
Schedule a meeting to just destroy the city. I'm sure we can get a bunch of, like, anarcho fucking people.
Just in here and be like, yo, just start burning stuff. And then, like, if somebody stops you and catches you,
burn them too. It just keeps going. The whole city's burnt down.
But back to a drunk scorpion singing stuff to death. Because, again, I keep wanting to call it crackhead.
Yeah.
So... You wrote it, and then, like, what was your very next step? Like, walk me through, like, the whole...
Yeah, okay, so after I wrote the script, and I wrote a couple drafts of it, I settled on one that I wrote. I wrote the last, like, 20 pages on the plane back to New York. So it was originally, like, 96 pages. And I sent it to, all my friends, and I said, hey, like, this is what I have. And, of course, none of them read it. It was a feature. Like, you're not going to read the whole script. But, I think, like, a few days after that, I got Nadir into my room, and I said, hey, I got this thing, and I think I want you to be the DP. I can't pay you a lot, but I'll pay you what I can. He goes, yeah, man, I'm so on board. And then, we kind of worked out getting actors and actresses. I did auditions in coffee shops. I would just like meet up in like a Starbucks and be like, okay, like let's just do it in this loud ass coffee shop, which I think is a good environment because it throws them off. Like they're not expecting it, so like they're, you can tell if they're gonna be fine in high pressure situations and like high stress situations.
Like and then like it also kind of gives them the vibe of what you're working with. It's like
like hey, this is not like big budget production.
Yeah, because like everybody's like, wow, I'm in a movie, and they assume like, oh, like. Marvel like
like it's gonna be
budget.
A blockbuster.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, I don't even know how I'm finna release this.
Yeah, like I spent $950 on this, and that was it.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's a very
that's pretty good. like that's like I don't honestly what's a little expected of your first feature, and like it's pretty good for a college kid.
Especially because like I have the equipment through Pratt for free.
Yeah.
Which it was just such a godsend because I wouldn't have been able to do it without that. It was such a good resource because I would have spent like thousands more on it without that.
Yeah.
If
Like,
I was using the same equipment.
if you're like once you're using what camera did you use?
The Panasonic EVA-1, which is just like a phenomenal camera. It
Yeah.
looks so great. Like because I'm editing with proxies, so I'll like forget what it actually looks like, and then I'll like export a cut of it, and I'll look at it and be like, holy shit, that looks so nice.
I feel the
thought that
same
looked like
because
shit.
right now I'm working on a recently a former teacher of mine emailed a bunch of us about being extras on this set for this feature he was working on. I email him back and I'm like, yo, I don't want to be a extra. I want to be like your production assistant. Production assistant is
Okay.
basically like intern for the set.
Yeah.
So I ended up, it was a 22-day shoot. I was there for like 12, I think.
Okay.
Like I ended up just coming for like the back half of the production. Honestly, probably like one of the best decisions I made all summer. Like,
Hell yeah.
like just really small crew, like really intimate crew and cast
That's
setup.
the best.
But like it's just like you like the people you meet and the connections you build with them are like it was one of those things that like we felt like a band. Like you ever like see it like you ever like hear a band talk about being on tour and they're like like you get so close. It's like, it feels like that.
That's what it is.
Like
yeah.
a small budget production. We're all like sitting in like Central Park. Like my director has a boom. Like the camera team is 2 people and then there's me and that's like the whole crew for today.
Yeah.
And then like I don't even remember where I was going with this, but anyways, I ended up assistant editing on it, and then
Okay.
like just packaging footage and stuff to send out to the lead editor, and like it's when you're like when you're assistant, like you learn a lot more things than like say if he had like hired me to do it, because I'm not like I feel like I have certain abilities, but there's just so many gaps in
It's
my
a
knowledge and
lot,
stuff.
yeah.
And like this is an older dude, a really experienced filmmaker. Like this is just one of his first solo outings. Like, yo, I'm writing this, I'm directing this. Like, but yeah, so we're working with the Reds, and I've been like proxying and all of that. And like one of the things that you learn about filmmaking, like really fast, and like everybody's always gonna say this, but the more you think you know something, the less you know. Like, or like the more you learn about it, you find out the less you know in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Like I could like the amount of times I was like, oh, I got this editing shit down pat. Like,
And then like some problem comes up, like Premiere like just says like, oh hey, this is fucked, and you're like, okay, I don't know what the
I remember
fuck this
when
means.
when he first hired me, he was like, yeah, like you know how to transcode and stuff. Transcode is making proxies, and like what proxies are, like they're basically like when you're editing really big footage from like really cool cameras, they're just shitty and difficult to use.
Yeah,
So,
your
like-
computer's not gonna load like half the frame.
Yeah, so like you have to make a proxy, which is a compressed version of that footage. So, you know.
Yeah.
Like and like he's like, oh, you know, do you know how to do this? Do you know how to do that? And I'm like, nah. But I'm like, the amount of times I told somebody no, I don't, but I'm a fast learner, and like they're like, all right, like I'll
Yeah,
teach
that's
you.
why I'm just like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Like I've never like actually just like DP'd on someone's set before, like just done that.
Yeah.
But like last night I get a call while I was at the Salvation Army actually, and it's one of my buddies is like, hey, this guy needs a DP for his shoot in Manhattan, and I can't do it. Can you do it? And I was like, when is it? He goes, it's right now. You have to get there right now, and it's till midnight. And I was like,
What
yeah,
time
fuck
was
it, I'm down.
What
Like,
time was it?
It was like 6. He said he needs you there before 6:30. I said, I can get there. And I like hopped on the train and got up there. And we were like shooting on an iPhone, so it was like really small set. But it was a weird shoot. But yeah, it was a good time.
That's like so like low budget filmmaking.
It's
It
just
like it builds character.
It really
so much.
does.
Cause like when you like hear about like say like musicians or like comedians and stuff like that talk about their craft, and like cause you know there's always a point when like when like an entertainer just blows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And like you always think, oh, they don't really have the credentials yet, but like there's certain people like you know like say a Kevin Hart or something like that who had just been at it for years and then suddenly they get that big break. But like and like which is weird because like one of the things about filmmaking that makes it feel so like I don't know if I'm really gonna make it is that we're still in our like
You're
preliminary
still in
years,
that, yeah.
before your whole big break thing. So like it's just such a weird thing because you're like kind of vulnerable. Like you know what I mean? Like
you have to be willing to do like anything
yeah,
at all, and
just to make it work, and it might not work. Eventually.
Yeah, it probably won't, like half the time.
Like for most people, it doesn't. Like this is not a career job.
Yeah.
So
and we're all trying to make a career out of it. We're all like,
yeah.
oh yeah, but I'm gonna make it. Like
yeah,
and like
everybody swears up and down that they're gonna be something.
No. But like all these other guys, they're not as serious about it as
I
am.
Like I have ideas. Yeah. It's like everybody has ideas. Can you execute on those ideas?
Yeah, like the bum on the street is like he's got an idea. Like,
yeah, like the bum on the street swears he could be running Google because he like just has so good ideas. You know what I mean? I
got a friend. He got out of prison like 3 weeks ago, and I met him like right after that. He was just like on the street selling paintings, and we like talk on the phone all the time. He was a career bank robber, real sweet guy, but he like really wants to get into the robot industry, and so like he thinks that like that's the future, and so he's like, first I'm gonna get into the entertainment industry with my screenplay, and like that's why he wants to be friends with me. He wants me to like direct his screenplay so that he can get into the entertainment industry, so that he can write another script about this robot that he has an idea for, so that he can then make that robot real.
And then everybody wants to buy it because his movie is so big and famous.
Yeah. Which I mean, I think that's like kind of tight. Like it's really like just an endearing way of like, he's like, okay, this is my chain of success in the world. And he's like 60, but like, he's like, no, like I'm going to be successful. And I think that's the kind of drive that I think everyone should have.
That's actually like, I don't know. That is some movie character shit. Honestly.
Yeah. Like I do want to make a movie about him, but it's probably not the one that he wants me to make about him.
All right. Now we keep branching off.
Yeah. Sorry.
All the way back, right?
Yes. Back
to Nadir.
Okay. I got Nadir. I got the actors and actresses, and our first shoot was the subway scene, which was just a terrible idea because I was not like super experienced. Like I had done like shorts, but never like something long form, and I didn't really get like enough coverage for that scene and for most of the scenes really. The whole thing was just like a big learning experience, and like by the end of it, I was like, okay, so like this is what I actually need to be doing.
By the end of the day?
No, by the end of the production. Which fucked me over in editing, but that's fine. But yeah, we got there at like 11:30. It was a Saturday night, so of course it was still packed. We were trying to film on the G. So we just rehearsed in this station like a bunch of times. And we finally got on at like 1 a.m. when it was empty enough. And it was this scene where I get like the shit kicked out of me for smoking on the train. And like all these like just like people walking by like just on the train, they were helping the other guy and not the guy getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, well, were you actually getting the shit kicked out of you?
Yeah, no. I told him like, hey, actually do it. Don't hold back. And he just rocked my shit every time. And it looks so good because you can tell that he's really fucking just like stomping on me. And yeah, like there's this guy that came over and he was like, hey, he goes up to the guy who's kicking me. He's like, hey, man, do you need help? I was like, okay, first of all, cut. Second of all, what the fuck, dude? Like, but yeah, so we shot, it was just like nights and weekends. And at the same time, I was editing this music video that had so many VFX. So I was, not sleeping at all. And it was, production was a blast. There were, like, of course, like terrible days.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of really great ones. I'm so thankful for the people who helped me out for literally nothing, just so that I'll help them out in the future.
The thing about it is, first of all, that's kind of funny because that was like a little bit my mindset. When I asked you to be on this, I was kind of like, I kind of did him a favor. Like, hopefully.
You did me a huge favor.
Hopefully this comes a little full circle. And like a few months have passed. I was hoping that the movie was done because I would be like, this would be like perfect. Like, I'm like, little bit of you giving me a little bit of clout, I'm giving you a little bit of clout, us giving each other a little legitimacy, because
but like, you'll be in the credits as like locations or something like that.
No, but like the funny thing about filmmaking is, especially like as a young filmmaker, you're always asking people to take a chance on you.
Oh, always.
Like whenever I get either whether or not you get the job or like you're pitching for the job, like the subtext there is, yo, I feel like I'm going to make this worth your while. If you give me this opportunity, I'm going to make it worth your while.
Absolutely.
And like, which is why like sometimes, like, especially with more personal stuff, which is why like you got to be real careful with your friends and things like that. Because like, if like your friend is like, if you're working on something and your friend is like, and you ask your friend, yo, like, bro, I'm like shooting this, blah, blah, blah. I need somebody to edit it. Like, what's up? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it feels like they're not taking a chance on you. Like, even though filmmaking is like a business and all that stuff. So, like, that's not the way that it actually works. It's just your time, like, his time is just as valuable as yours if he feels like it's not a good use of his time.
Yeah.
Or hers or whatever. But, like, I just think that, like, that whole thing of, like, that young filmmaker culture is just a bunch of people, like, oh, shit, like, it's a 12-hour shoot, and, like, you're not paying me, but, like, I'm getting credit? Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'll do it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you'll, like, buy me a chopped cheese later? Fine. Like, I'll take
Like, you're giving me lunch and breakfast and a coffee at the end of the day?
it. Yeah.
Shit, like, yeah, I'll do it.
You'll buy
I'll
my
do
beer
that.
at the end of the night? Okay, fine.
Like,
I'll do it.
From, like, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.? Yeah, cool. Like,
yeah, it's insane how much you have to ask of people, and like then you're like riding them on set and you feel like, because like sometimes I'll be like, man, like I cannot ask them to take this shot again because like I'm not fucking paying them, but you know like that's what you have to do. You have to be like, hey, like I'm gonna be a dick right now, and that was probably the best idea or the best advice that I got from my first professor of film. He said like, hey, you have to be a dick on set if you're the director. Like a lot of times and that doesn't mean like be an asshole, but like you have to. People are gonna like not like a lot of your decisions, and you have to just stand by them and be like, "Yeah, this is what
I mean, you're the boss
do."
at the end of the day. So like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's really cool how like quickly that like switches up in your head. Like, because like I'm like I've been on set for a few of my French films, and like how quickly they're in and out of director mode or producer mode or whatever. Like, I'm like I honestly haven't directed something for like. Since like maybe 2 years ago, and I'm like really like anxious to get back into that range because like right now I'm kind of doing the whole editing thing. I'm like working on like 2 different projects right now, and like I kind of feel like I'm still learning my craft a lot. But like I feel like I might like because everybody wants to be a director long term. Everybody wants to have complete control over their creative vision, and like the only way to do that is to be the director, and like maybe also a writer and editor or whatever. But like. So, like, eventually I feel like I'm going to get back in there. But, like, I feel like I'm still getting a lead. I need to have, like, a basic skill. Like, a basic thing I can offer on set other than, like, oh, I'm good at directing. Because, like, it's like most times people who come to you aren't asking for a director. Because most people coming to you are a director.
They are the director. They need, a DP or some shit.
Yeah, like, they need somebody for camera, somebody for sound, or somebody for, like, editing. So, yeah.
It's just so insanely collaborative.
Yeah. It's like movies are like one of the unique things where it's like this kind of goes back to the whole everybody blames the director or gives him credit. Yeah. Because whenever you like watch like say a Tarantino movie or like a Spielberg movie, they feel like movies from those directors. Yeah. But like there's like literally 100 other people who worked in that movie.
Yeah, like, who don't have that same style, but are just listening to, whatever
or like maybe their style blends so well, which is why like people like Tarantino will work with the same editors over and over and over again, same DP, because like it's like they make the same vision together. Yeah. But like again, all credit goes to the director.
Yeah. That's how I like fuck, what's that guy's name? The one who did the DP for Last Black Man in San Francisco and Euphoria. He has a really distinct style about him, and I think that's really great for a DP to have because usually you see that in the director, and of course he's working with the director, but you can like if you're familiar with his work, you can tell when he's shot something, and he's done a bunch of shorts too. I think it's Adam Newport Barra is his name. Don't quote me on that. But he just has such a distinct style, and it's really great to see that from someone who's not the writer or director.
Yeah, which is why like this isn't at all the case, but like Edgar Wright kind of has a similar thing. Yeah, where like his editing style is like super. When you're watching an Edgar Wright movie, and like it's in that movie's DNA that it's an Edgar Wright movie, and like which is why it's so great a lot of time because it comes forward and like. It's definitely like the dialogue and like how quirky just some of his stories are and like how like weird they are. But like one of the good things about movies like Scott Pilgrim, which is like a classic film. Like if you want to be a filmmaker, you have to watch that movie. It's one of those.
Absolutely.
But like is how just distinct everything is. And like
just so like stylized and just it hits the mark every single time.
Like some of the scene transitions in that movie, and it's like really simple stuff to like two characters are like talking and say a coffee shop, and then like shot of the director. I mean, shot of one of the actors looking, and then
the whip pans is so good.
No, or reverse shot to like somebody else, and then reverse shot. We're in a new place now.
Yeah,
and like because like subconsciously film language is so ingrained in you that like when movies are cutting from one shot to another that are all in the same time.
That it all.
He like takes advantage of it and like does little tweaks and stuff that like
and it really works for the whole like comic book style of the whole thing because it's just like you went to a new panel.
Which is why I feel like Scott Pilgrim is definitely his best film because I feel like that style doesn't really like work for like I don't like not to be like all of his other movies are shit, but like I feel like his style is so unique for Scott Pilgrim that like I don't know, like I feel like
it's just his style works so well for
that specific version of movie.
Yeah.
Because like stuff like Baby Driver is actually like fantastic. I just watched it again the other day.
See, I've only seen it once, and I was so fucking stoned. I saw it in theaters, and I was so high. And so
I remember I
didn't comprehend most of it.
Also, first off, did you know that was his first movie to ever break like $100 million?
Really?
Like opening weekend or something like that.
Shit.
It's like he's been an established filmmaker for a while, and like also if he did Ant-Man, if he like stayed on Ant-Man, he would have but like that ended up not happening. But one of the interesting things about it is that like it does feel like that movie specifically does feel like something that when regular audience who's like so used to the junk food of like not to say these types of movies are bad, but like the Fast and Furious and the Marvel and stuff, and they get like an action movie that's like a smart, well done, like well acted, like kind of just like all around really good action movie. And it's like, you know, coming of age story and all that. You can argue what kind of genre it's in, but like we're totally aside the point. Edgar Wright is fantastic.
We love Edgar Wright. Anyways, so after production, we wrapped at the end of April, and then I told myself I was leaving May 15th to go back to Oklahoma, and I said, okay, I'm not going to touch the footage until I get back to Oklahoma. I'm going to give myself a break from this shit. And 2 days later, I started editing. I've just been kind of in posts. I didn't get a chance to do as much over the summer as I wanted to because I was working at this car parts warehouse and had a side gig at a farm. I was just cleaning up horse shit. And
really?
I had a very distinctly Oklahoman summer. And I also worked as a mover, which I'm trying to still do here. So it's, I didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but now I'm back and I've gotten so much more done. I think being in New York makes me more productive.
I feel like a lot of people either have that exact thing or it's the opposite as a problem.
Yeah, because there's also so much to do here. I get distracted by we're going to a show. You want to come? I'm like, fuck it, why not?
Or just how easy it is to just walk into a comedy club or a movie in the park or something. It's just such a New York teenager experience sometimes. The way summers are usually set up.
Yeah.
So it's it's so easy to not really do anything. You're technically doing stuff, but not doing anything that's furthering yourself.
Yeah, I could have been working on that movie, but instead I watched Big in the park.
Yeah. But and it's the fourth time I've seen that movie, in general.
I just like Big, man. The scene with the piano.
But
sorry, that's not good.
One of the cool things about I love when people get really animated for it. But one of the cool things about say doing other survival job type stuff is that let's say you do make your break, this is your backstory kind of thing.
Yeah.
Say 10 years from now, you're gonna be telling people yeah, I remember when I shot my first feature, that same summer I was doing blank, blank, and blank.
Yeah, and then I'm going to be oh, but that feature's shit because I know I'm going to look back on it and hate it.
I mean, yeah, and then you're well, I didn't have the budget and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Also, this is another thing that it kind of ties back to the you never know all that you think you know thing. But you will always, whenever I look at my work from a year from a year ago or a year before that or a year before that, I always feel it's just such noticeable leaps and bounds in quality, which is why I could kind of see, not being oh, my stuff now is perfect, But like
no, like,
considering like the Heart Garbage Fire, that was like my first like short compared to something that like I'm making now.
yeah, I mean, you
it's
just like you can really see distinct progress, especially in young filmmakers.
Yeah, like and like people want like to be like people want their first film to be the most perfect creative thing ever, and I'm like,
And it's never gonna
yeah,
be
it's
like,
never gonna be like it's great to strive for that, but like it's never gonna be. So like, just make it a
fucking-
learning experience.
I feel like Jim Cummings every time I say, just make your movie. Don't
like-
wait for the world to take you. Okay, I love
like,
Jim Cummings.
that's something that everybody's always like yo, like do this for you, man. And it's like, I mean, yeah,
Fucking
like
A.
I do want to do it for me, but like at the end of the day, I want it to also be good.
Yeah, like one of the guys that worked on the movie, I showed him the rough cut, and I was like, yeah, I just want to get like a 6 out of 10 from like an average rating. That's all I want. And he goes, no, don't care about the average rating. Like it's better if no one likes it, but you like it. And I said, no, that's not. Like that's really not what I want.
I mean, like maybe like from a philosophical point of view, when you're
Like
like,
if I was making some like experimental art film, that'll be
no,
like,
but like that's the kind of thing that you can do at the end of your career when you start making movies for yourself.
yeah.
But at the beginning, you're not like.
Like, cause if I'm like just making shitty movies that only I like, then like no one's gonna be like, oh, let's give this guy more money.
Then eventually you're never gonna be able to continue making shitty movies.
Yeah.
You're at the like you're out of money, you're out of time. You don't have the same. Nobody's gonna want to keep working with you.
Yeah,
they're like,
because they're like,
oh,
okay.
he just makes movies that are like weird and like he has all these jokes that only he understands and stuff like
He
that.
literally makes inside jokes to himself about his own life.
like like in like
I
your
think
third.
he just watches these movies alone.
No, but it's like in like your third movie, a character looks straight to camera like, wow, remember that time when we were 6 at grandma's playground? And then everybody's like, what is he talking about? And then like the scene continues and you're like, nah, I just put that in there. Put that in there for me.
That's like from the heart, man. It's like from the heart.
That's real filmmaking.
It's honest. It's vulnerable, bro.
Yeah, it's like this is what I'm an artist. I'm your favorite artist. But like that whole like weird like mental gymnastic game people play to kind of make excuses for why their stuff is like not as good as they want it to be.
Yeah.
It's like always like fantastic. Like it's crazy to me because I'm just like, just say you messed up.
Yeah,
so you'll do better next time.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, the thing is, like, you're constantly learning so many more lessons. Because, like, I rushed this last one so fucking much. And so this next one, like, I'm going to start filming this semester and hopefully, like, be done at the end of next semester. So I'll have, like, you know, like 6 months or, like, 5 months to work on it. And it's going to be, like, there's no script. So I have, like, the plot pinned down and the characters are really, like, delved into.
I mean, well, what are you trying to do? Well, what's the next movie?
It's okay. I don't have like a title for it. The working title is The Tipping of a Jar, which I think, I don't know, it just like sounds nice with it. But I play a sleazy con man who makes.
Wait, you're gonna be lead again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's my inner narcissist. I play a sleazy con man who makes his living selling stolen shit on the streets. And he's the best salesman, like, that's his superpower. He can sell anything to anyone, and he just has this, like, charisma about him. And his half-brother comes into town. He just went to college in L.A., and he's coming back to New York for this job, and he's staying with him. And they had this huge fight whenever he left, and they haven't talked since. And so, like, you know, things are awkward and tense at first, and then, you know, it turns into them just, like, screaming at each other, like, every time they're in the same room, and they can't fucking stand each other. And he goes back out to the street to sell some shit, and he can't do it. And so, you know, like, he loses.
Because of that inner turmoil.
Yeah, he loses that edge, and so it's all about him trying to gain that back and his life going further into the shitter while his relationship with his brother slowly gets better.
So what's driving you to tell these stories?
The first one, it was about my, you know, passion for addiction and showing that in a light that is like, hey, this is a terrible thing, and it's really going to affect people terribly, but, like, they are humans and like that.
Yeah.
And this one, I don't know, it's like, the main character is based a lot on my dad. If my dad was just like if he had less morals, because he's just like really, he has that sales superpower. He can sell anything to anyone. He just never uses that power for evil. Like he never pays for parking. He always talks his way out of that, but that's like about it. And then, my relationship with my brothers, I think this one's a lot more personal than the last one because it's, my actual experiences.
Like movies that are personal but not for you, kind of.
Yeah. Like I think it'll be applicable to anyone who has. I think it's good to show like a positive relationship between two men that like they can be open about like loving each other and shit. Yeah. And just like in a brotherly way.
Like and like the thing about like say like siblings based like narratives is like they always kind of get bogged down in like when they're like younger, which is like I mean it's cool to make a show about like two sisters who are like growing up.
Yeah.
But like the concept of like adults like who have already experienced life and then still learning, I think that's pretty nice.
And like you're trying to figure out like how to be an adult and have this relationship, like this long-standing relationship, because you got to have that till you die. Like you can't just get out of that and be like, I mean you can be like, all right, I never want to fucking talk to you again.
Or you could just kill him like before you die, just shoot him or something.
Okay, you're onto something. Like shit, the movie's different now. I'm changing it. He
like,
kills his brother.
If he's just tired of him, just like be like, yo, I don't want to deal with this.
Like,
kill him. And now you're in jail. Even if he doesn't die, you're in jail. So like,
you never have to see him.
Yeah, like
he comes to visit you. You just say, nah, I don't want to see that man.
Nah,
get him out of here.
Fuck him. He's not my brother anymore. I killed him. I shot him. But like, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, so that's the next movie. The whole it's all gonna be improvised. So like it's
like all the dialogue.
Yeah, all the dialogue. Which that's kind of hard for me because it's like dialogue is what I really love. Like that's like where I feel like I shine in my writing is in the dialogue. But I think I trust myself and the other actors that I'm using, and I really think that we can make something nice that like. I want to make something nice. No, I think we can. I think we can make something that like feels authentic and feels almost like a documentary, because it's just about people caring about each other.
Yeah.
In some way, and I feel like I can improvise. Maybe I can't. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like way overselling my acting abilities. Who knows?
I mean, like, I've seen like a few more like indie movies that are all improvised, and they have like a really specific tone to them.
Yeah.
That like,
it's hard to capture that with the scripts, and
Yeah.
I think Godard did that. A lot of Breathless was improvised or like just written on set that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was kind of like my awakening. I was in my history of film class and we watched Breathless, and I was like, holy shit, like he improvised, like you can do that? You can just like set up a camera and have him do shit? Yeah, okay, I'm done.
Like one interesting movie about that is George Washington. Have you seen it? It's some movie about kids down south. It might be like Mississippi or something.
Okay.
Like 4 black kids, and like that's like literally the whole. You basically just watch them live life for like 2 weeks, and then the movie ends.
Kind of like a Killer Sheep type thing.
Maybe. Like no, but like. Honestly, I'm not gonna like talk too much smack about it, especially like while we're recording.
Yeah.
But like I feel like the movie like kind of like lacks an over. It has like a really distinct tone, and it kind of feels like it has a point. But like I feel like the end, it kind of just fizzles.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like well, it's been like an hour and a half. So yeah, this movie's about it. It's pretty much over.
We're done. Yeah.
We're gonna have the music swell, and then somebody's gonna start talking, and then the credits.
That's the problem about like I think some like movies that seem to have like not a whole lot of plot can work. Like I mean Jim Jarmusch has been doing shit like that, and it's always been really good. I'm a huge fan of his, but yeah, you definitely do have to have like something at least sort of poetic or poignant about the ending, because otherwise it's just like it does just fizzle and it's just like flat the whole time. You need to like go up a little bit at the end.
It has to be like a. Like, I like it when, like, movies are a lot deeper than you would, like, give them credit for. And, like, that's only when you, like, really take how full circle the ending comes into account.
Yes.
Which is, like, why, like, I, like, talk smack about Marvel movies because, like, they're just, like, the most expensive mainstream movies right now. But, like, I feel like the whole, like, Infinity War Endgame thing, it felt like those movies finally served a greater point. You know what I mean? Like, they felt like movies instead of just, like, fan service a little bit. Like, I mean, some of them, I enjoy some of them. Shout outs Iron Man 3 and, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Iron Man 3 is really one of the ones that, okay.
I feel like, that is like it's like
Shane Black is a good director though. So
yeah,
like,
and he's worked with Robert Downey Jr. before. Like that was the interesting thing about that movie, and it feels like a hokey dokey comic book movie, but like in a way that's like not too detrimental to it, because it's just like when like it's like weird shit happening, like these like super secret cell agents who like breathe fire and shit, and like the movie's like, yeah, this is crazy, but like these are our villains.
They just do that, yeah.
Like these are our villains.
And like that kid in the town that like is there for like 20 minutes, and then it's like, all right, see you, kid. Like,
yeah, all right, that is one of the like more like random things about the movie. Like, whatever. I feel like Iron Man 3 is
this is now an Iron Man 3 podcast.
We're now discussing Marvel movies one by one. On the next episode, we'll do Winter Soldier. Even though Winter Soldier is the most overrated one, it does kind of hold up.
Okay.
But like, whatever.
See, I really fell off with those Marvel movies. I haven't seen like any of them since. Fuck, I don't even know when.
I mean, like, I honestly don't blame you. I was a pretty big spoilers, but I was a pretty big Iron Man fan before he, you know.
Oh, what did he do? What did he do?
He said they have him say the N-word in one of the movies. But and like I'm also a pretty big Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
So like I was like, I'll keep up to the ones that I really care about. And like as Infinity War was building up, I kind of got sucked into the hype a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, which is why I ended up seeing Captain Marvel, even though that movie was like abysmal. Like it felt like a weird Superman movie, but like
really.
Like yeah, and like honestly, it does. Now that I say it out loud, it does have a lot of weird similarities to Superman.
See, I wanted to see it just because it's by the directors that did Half Nelson, and that's like one of my favorite films. Mm-hmm. And Ryan Gosling just acts his ass off in that. That was a big inspiration for A Drunk Scorpion Will Sing Itself to Death. Actually, was that film, and just like I watched that film on repeat while I was like trying to figure out the visual influences and shit. I made Nadir watch it, and he hated it. But I made him watch it. I was like, this is what you're emulating, bitch.
Really?
Yeah. And he was like, I don't like this. I don't like this.
I mean, I haven't seen it, but like I have heard really, really good things about it, like from like from other people in my film program and stuff. So it's like,
yeah, it's a great film. I would highly recommend it. Everyone go watch Half Nelson right now.
Also, City of God, probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. Well, one of the best opening sequences I've ever seen. Watch that.
I'll go watch City of God later.
Yeah. I want Half Nelson. But City of God probably has what I consider the perfect scene.
Okay.
And like, which is that opening scene, which is like, once you watch it all the way, like, watch it all the way through, and then watch the opening scene again. Okay. And then you're like, oh, like this foreshadows so much. This explains so much.
I love
it's
that.
like,
I love me some good foreshadowing.
Like it foreshadows so much. It builds up. Like I love it when like, with the thing about really smart filmmaking is when films get across, like the movie's like kind of like world that you're living in, the rules of that world, like quickly and easily. So it's like if you're watching a fucking Batman movie, a Superman movie, and like fucking Lex Luthor is like flying around and shit with like a robot suit or something like that. You're like, oh, okay, so shit like that happens in that movie. Like,
yeah, like we just got to get ready for that. All right, cool.
Yeah, all right. So like, if it happens 2 hours in, I'm not blindsided by it because like I knew this shit happens in these kinds of movies. So it's like it's one of those. That's honestly a classic in my opinion. Definitely my favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I have to watch that.
It's about this random. It's about this random city in Brazil, which is why like it's so like weirdly far removed from like any New York experience.
Yeah.
But like or like even a like American filmmaker experience. But like it's just so. Well, we can talk about it once you watch it.
Yeah.
Because like that movie is like.
I'll watch it and I'll hit you up.
Yeah.
About it.
Like, whatever. Anyways.
Yes. Back to the matter at hand.
Yeah, like, so anything else you want to, hey, first off, anything you want to plug?
Watch A Drunk Scorpion Will Sting Itself to Death when it comes out.
When should it come out?
September to October is what I'm thinking.
All right, so we're going to say by Halloween. So like,
yeah, by Halloween.
By Halloween is like a Scorpion movie.
Oh shit, yeah, it'll be a Halloween release. That's tight.
We start marketing it like it's some like children's film and it's about crackheads and stuff, killing people.
Yeah. We gotta get like the kids market, and then they watch it and they're like, ah! And
but then their
like
parents,
this big scandal.
Yeah, but then their parents are like, yo, we hate this movie. You scared our kids. And now you're like, whoa, I only spent $1,000 making it. Y'all just gave me $1 billion. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. So watch it. It'll probably be on Amazon Prime. I'm imagining.
wait, is that the kind of thing you just
Yeah, you can just upload that shit. No one knows that. And
really?
yeah, it's like uploading to YouTube. You just need to
I
have.
feel like I've learned actually like a good
captions.
amount of stuff from
Yeah,
this
all you have to
conversation.
do is just like upload it and it's there and it's like free. So like, and it's so much more professional than saying like, oh, I have something on Vimeo. It's like, oh, I have something on Amazon Prime. And then people are like, holy shit, Amazon Prime. And you're like, well, it's Amazon Video Direct, but you can stream it with Prime. And then they're like, oh, okay.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it's so that's probably where it'll go.
I'll
and
put this
then-
on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, honestly, just put anything on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
There's like Minecraft videos on Amazon Prime, man. Just gonna dig through that shit.
It's like my like 6-year-old brother's Let's Play. I'm just putting on Prime. I'm like, yo, like you're gonna. This is an untapped
Go
market.
blow up, bro. On God,
This is
on
an
God.
Untapped market. Like these like 30-year-olds who like just kind of looking for something to watch. You're my building my house part 4, like building my house in another part 4. They're gonna fuck with that. I'm telling you right now. Like those middle-aged white men love
They
watching
love
kids play
that
Minecraft.
shit.
Um,
Yeah, so it'll probably be there. I'll go for festivals if any of them want it, and yeah. So watch it when it comes out.
anybody you wanna shout out? You know what this kind of, you know what I'm like for, you've ever played this game called Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh all the time.
Of course. When I was like a little younger, they used to do these things called like deck profiles. Where, like they'd like interview these famous players and they'd be like, wow, I use this card and this card and this card. And
Yeah.
at the end, they're always like, anything you want to plug, anything you want to shout out. And they always have like some company sponsoring them. And I always feel like we need to get a company sponsoring this.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
But like anything you want to plug in a movie.
Okay, well let's plug the movie. Let's also go fucking Nadir Hepburn, Zachary Razik, Anahita Amershahi, Mikey Ames, Amos Chu, Ryder Hall, Liam Burke, Chanel Mack, Ava Maria Vocic, everyone else that worked at Domingo Graham.
Cool thing about Chanel is I actually edited a reel for her a little while
Did you
ago.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
Chanel's great.
Yeah, like she's
She's
actually,
just the
like,
tightest.
She's a cool person, but like she's actually really fucking good.
She's a great actress. Yeah, she
Um,
really, and she needed no direction from me. Like she
Really?
was just like, yeah, I know the character. Like I'm good, and she would just like get into it, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, you're like perfect. Like thank you, Chanel. So shout out Chanel.
Yeah, shout out Chanel.
Shangela Bassett, Shangela L. Maxon.
So yeah.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at
I actually don't even follow.
yeah
this stuff, so I
at
got
Denton_True, and Twitter at DentonTrue _. Yeah, that's about it.
you. Right. You know what's funny is like, I never really know how to wrap these up. So I always
put
just
the
go.
leg on the table and you say, okay.
And that's a copy.
We did it.